Yeah. Okay, we're just about ready.
Hello and welcome to the coverage of YCS London. It's the second tournament in the season and the largest one possibly of the year. I'm your host for the weekend, Oliver Gurman, and I'm joined by Matt Bell. Matt, welcome.
Hey, Oliver. Thank you for having me on the stream again.
Yes. It's been an amazing event. We can already say that, even though before it started, we had more players pre-registered than we had in Madrid showing up.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's something we should brag about, but yeah, we had a lot of players show up and you like go, yeah, and then you go, oh.
Right.
But
well, Madrid was a little bit off. This is in the heart of the MCM Expo in London, the Comic-Con. Lots of visitors just here to check out the expo right next door to us. And, well, more Yu-Gi-Oh! Players, in fact, who are here for all the fun that we have.
yeah, we've got a lot of extra activities. If you attended the World Championships in Rimini, we have all the carnival games, again, that we've brought over from there. We've got a giant Attack of the Giant Duel,
right.
Which is a huge amount of fun. You've got some enthusiastic judges on that,
yeah.
and there's just a whole bunch of other things to check out.
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Bingo as well, which is quite cool, I heard.
Number bingo, yeah. That's actually quite hilarious when you've got the host who comes up with all the different jokes for the cards.
Yeah.
Regardless of what card you give him, he's got a joke for it.
These are our pairings, and you can see this is massive. We got more than 1,000 players. We will give you an exact number a little bit later on. Tournament is about to get underway. As always, prior to the start of the tournament, the judges are making some announcements, so everybody is on the same page that they know about the round time, which is going to be 40 minutes. How many rounds we're going to?
We're going to be playing 11 rounds this weekend.
Oh.
I believe will be 8 rounds today, 3 rounds tomorrow.
All right.
Most likely, but that might be subject to change. We'll see how we're doing with time.
Confirm that as well, yes.
You'll notice the bags, and then my eyes will get deeper and deeper, and we'll figure out what we can do from there.
Well, in any case, you are in for a treat. Don't go anywhere. We got lots of content this weekend. Apart from feature matches, as always, which will take you there in just a second, we also got strategic content. We're going to do interviews with players for the first time on the stream, apart from the World Championship.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to look forward to this weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a really exciting event. We've got a new Forbidden Limited list in effect for this tournament.
Something we're going to talk about as well.
A little bit later, yeah. It'll be really interesting to see how this event plays out. Will it be Burning Abyss? Will it be Schaddoll? Will something come and upset the whole competition?
Right.
We'll see.
For our round 1 feature match, we got Anna Scully on the one side and Karl on the other. Anna, like the FBI agent Scully,
yep,
is playing Traptrix, she told us, which is quite something.
Yeah, it's still a very, very powerful set of trap cards in there. Will it hold up to the metagame? Will it be interesting to see?
Speaking of the metagame, in Madrid, Schaddoll, the dominant deck.
Oh, absolutely. By the end of that event, there was no question. I mean, it was, would it be Statella Knights? Will it be Schaddoll? Will it be Burning Abyss? Schaddoll very dominantly saying,
yeah.
hey, this is the best deck.
They had a very firm grip on the top 16, in fact.
Yeah, although now they're doing it without the free super polymerizations, will they still be able to have the level of disruption they need to fight off Burning Abyss?
Speaking of Schaddoll, Karl is also playing Schaddoll. However, he's got a special ingredient, which is Saffira, Queen of Dragons, a card you don't see every day.
Yeah, this might be the first ritual monster we see in a feature match since Demise, King of the Armageddon. Everybody remembers being blown up by that and then killed by Doomdozer.
That was fun.
You're like, oh, wow, that just happened.
So we got Karl on the left side, Anna on the right side. If you are not familiar with the cards, as you can see on the right-hand side of your screen, we're going to have them all up for you, so you can see what cards they are holding in their hands. We're going to explain the cards as well.
Yeah, as the hands load in, we're seeing Karl's hand. We've got a Schaddoll Falco, Royal Decree, Sinister Shadow Games, Schaddoll Squamata, and Preparation of Rites.
So is that a good opening hand?
Yeah, that seems very good. The Sinister Shadow Games and the Schaddoll Falco will allow Karl to get off some of his early game combos, get an early Schaddoll Beast going.
Right.
Or
we can also focus on cards so you can see what they look like. Not just right now, because we are even closer to the table this time, so you can see exactly what's going on.
So Karl took the first turn. Anna is starting off with Kaiser Colosseum and a set monster along with 2 cards.
That is Anna with the Kaiser Colosseum?
Yeah, that is correct.
Right. And Karl on the left side with just 2 set cards. There is the Sinister Shadow Games.
Yep, so that's going to go very nicely with that Schaddoll Falco being able to flip up the Falco and get back whatever Karl sends to the graveyard. He hasn't got the Schaddoll Fusion yet, so maybe it will be Hedgehog. Or maybe I'll just go for Beast to get the start filtering through his deck.
Right. So what is the tactic going into? Okay, he wants to get rid of the Kaiser Colosseum right away.
Yeah, that's going to slow him down. So, oh yeah, of course, Kaiser Colosseum. He wasn't going to be able to flip the Falco and get get another monster unless he took the Kaiser Colosseum out. And a Royal Decree during the end phase.
That seems like a very strong opening, and we could see in between the cuts just now that Karl was letting out a breather. He's like, yes, that is a good start for me.
Very good start against Anna's start, who has Traptrix Dianea face down, Dimensional Prison, and Phoenix Wind Blast, 2 cards that she's unable to use now due to that Royal Decree.
Right. And her monster just got a return to her hand, which means that Karl can make the first push and deal the first damage of the day.
Yeah, this damage is going to go in unopposed. He doesn't know that necessarily, but with that Royal Decree face up, it's a strong...
Can expect that, yeah.
You know, unless your opponent played Book of Moon, but he just goes in for the direct attack with Schaddoll Dragon.
So who's favoring, who's going to come out on front if this match is going to get dragged out forever? Is it favoring Anna or Karl?
I honestly think that the Saffira Schaddoll deck will play out better in the long game, but that might just come from a lack of understanding of Anna's strategy here. While she can play into the early game very, very well with Traptrix, with her Traptrix monsters in her trap holes, she has to contend with a large number of cards that can just appear for Karl out of nowhere. So that'll be interesting to see if she can hold that off.
Yes.
And he's main decking Royal Decree.
Yeah, that's pretty rough for her.
It takes away the best thing that she could, the best advantage her deck has, which is her powerful trap cards.
Yes.
That early, she has drawn a Banisher of the Radiance, which is very good card against Schaddoll in general.
So what would be your move here? Probably also going for Banish of the Radiance and attacking with it?
Yeah, most likely. We attacking the Schaddoll Falco or the face down card, which we know is a Schaddoll Squamata. Did she attack there? Or yeah, it looks like it.
Right. So why is it in attack position? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, that's. I don't know if she chose to not attack.
Ah, okay. So she just passed turn and Karl just flip summoned it.
Yeah, some things just happen a little bit quicker than we anticipate.
But is that the right play? A passing. I can't imagine I wouldn't attack with the Banish of the Radiance over the Falco.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. If this is what's happened, I think it has. I mean, neither player is making a gesture.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like what happened.
Karl seems to have drawn into Saffira.
Yeah, Saffira. Here's a ritual monster we were talking about a little bit earlier. It has 3 powerful effects, allowing you to filter through your deck, add back light monsters to your hand from your graveyard, or you can even discard cards from your opponent's hand. Although I can't see Karl wanting to use that that effect a lot against Burning Abyss or opposing Schaddoll decks, but the filtering through his cards, or even just getting monsters back, very good at getting things like Effect Veiler or Honest, which are pretty good cards against both Schaddoll and Burning Abyss, if you've got a normal summon light monster, of course. How
does this card fit exactly into a Schaddoll deck?
Well, it's a light monster, so it acts as a material for El Schaddoll Construct. It's a lot to do with the filtering, I guess, with it, because you can get because of the different range of effects, you can start doing lots of different things. It's quite an unusual mix-up, actually. If I had the deck list in front of me, I'd be able to explain it a little bit better, but during the first round...
Yes, well, due to the high number of deck lists that have been handed in this weekend, we don't have the deck list just with us just now. That's going to change later throughout the day, so we can run you through the options that the players have in between rounds. What are they going to side in most likely, and what thoughts are popping up in their head, where they're like, okay, this is what I can do here.
Yeah, things are going bad for worse for Anna. She just drew Call of the Haunted as another trap card that she's not going to be able to play for.
Right, and then she immediately scooped up. She's like, okay, that's it.
Yeah, Karl closing the game out without even revealing his Saffira tech, I believe, there. So Anna's still in the dark about what the...
Oh, actually, she's not, because I spoke to them. And I was like, hey, I just want to know what you're playing for the stream. And they said, oh, we already said to each other what we're going to play. So they are well aware of what each other is playing.
Oh, that's interesting. Normally, people just lie when they ask and go, oh, I'm playing Jirga.
But exactly, but they repeated it in front of me. So I know for a fact that both of them are aware what the opponent is playing. Interestingly enough, I think this is favoring Karl, to be honest.
I believe so too. I'm not sure.
So even if he is saying to someone, hey, I'm playing Saffira, the opponent is like, okay, so what is that card again?
Yeah, it's just like, hold on, let me get out the database and have a look for this.
It's not like when you say, hey, I'm playing Exodia, where everybody's like, yeah, of course, I mean, I know Exodia.
Oh, so you're going to draw lots of cards. Okay, I know what to expect.
Yeah.
Anna, although I will give her a possible side deck advantage here because she's probably very familiar with the Schaddoll strategy. She would have been playtesting against that coming into this tournament. So she should be pretty confident in what she's siding in. Unless she overthinks the ritual side of the Schaddoll deck, which I'm not sure about. I mean, you have got the Hymn of Light, which is very good at stopping trap holes, because when your monster would be destroyed, you can just banish the Hymn of Light instead.
Yep.
So there's actually a lot more to think about than on the surface. Actually quite a deep amount of thought that must have gone into this Saffira strategy. So.
Right. Well, it would be a shame if the second game would be over as fast as the first one, because we definitely want to see a little bit more of both of these decks.
Yeah, well, if these players win it out through here, we perhaps see them in the finals tomorrow.
Yeah, that's always a chance. Last time in Madrid, it seemed like every other player we had on the stream ended up in the top 32.
Yeah, that was just, I put that down to your experience on picking the matches. You're like, this is the guy, this is the guy. And like 7 out of 8 of those appeared in the top 8. And it's like, yeah, Oliver's really good at this.
Well, I can't take credit here because one of our helpful volunteers pointed out that Karl is playing this unique deck. And that is the reason why we picked this match. Not to take anything away from both of them.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see something that perhaps people aren't so familiar with in the format. Especially now it's becoming more and more common, it seems, to mix themes together.
Yes.
We're seeing Schaddoll and Burning Abyss, Billy Break winning with a 60-card deck at YCS Dallas, I believe that was. I'm sorry if I've got that wrong. I know it was a US event that he showed up and just said, hey, I'm playing 60 cards. And most people, when you sit across the table from someone with 60 cards, you go, oh, you're kind of new to the game. Billy is anything but new to Yu-Gi-Oh!
Speaking of new to the game, one of the stories of the weekend is not just new players pouring in. I've seen quite a few who are like, yesterday, in fact, when I came here, there was a family from Japan.
Oh, really?
And they said, yeah, we're living in London. We are still familiar with Yu-Gi-Oh! From our time back in Japan. And this is the first time we're attending an event. I'm like, well, you definitely picked the right one for that.
Yeah, London, definitely. It's also very family-friendly. I mean, worst case, I mean, you're never going to run out of fun inside of here, but there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on in Comic-Con as well to go look around. Yeah. I have seen many a parent sitting down with their Heat magazine or whatever, flicking through it for about the 600th time on a weekend. You're like, hey, you know what? There's also other stuff going on here.
Yeah. Although one of the other stories, quite contrary to that, is veterans returning to the game.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, this is the one chance I get to make a name for myself again, or like be back on the big screen. And we've seen like Wayne Pinkney, for example.
Yeah, UK national champion. I actually haven't seen him for years.
Yeah.
Whenever I catch him, it's like, oh, hey, Wayne, how you doing? You know.
And it's so nice to see that those guys, they do come back. Like if they get the opportunity, and this is definitely a good opportunity, they're like, hey, I just want to revisit the old days and see what it was like again.
Yeah. Especially YCS London being so big, and for many of these returning players are UK players, so it's a lot easier than traveling into the continent.
Right. So both are ready, done side decking. So we're about to start the second duel. It seems like the mood on the table is quite positive, so it's not like Anna took this the wrong way.
Yeah, I imagine she'll be choosing to go first. Her deck certainly seems to favor that with Banisher of the Radiance and her trap holes.
Yeah.
We'll see the hands loading in, but I'm seeing a ice hand. I think that's 2-dimensional prisons. I can't quite make it out, but we'll see as the hands load in.
Yes.
Karl's hand loading in first, being Manju of the 10,000 Hands, Tour Guide from the Underworld, Hymn of Light, another Tour Guide from the Underworld.
That's a little bit unfortunate.
He has the Jin's targets in his deck, speaking of which. Here we go, one that prevents his Saffira being targeted. So He's playing that most likely with, forgive me, I forget the name, the Djinn that prevents your opponent from special summoning. So you make a monster that stops your opponent from special summoning and a monster that they can't target that filters through your deck and does other horrible things to your opponent.
So what was the opening of Anna here?
That hasn't actually loaded in for me yet. So I can't tell you what those cards are just yet. But we got a face down. Here we go. Banisher of the Radiance, Banisher of the Radiance, 2 Dimensional Prisons, Ice Hand. So Dimensional Prison and Ice Hand going face down. The Ice Hand's actually going to be safe from this Manji of 10,000 Hands, who, while Karl will search his deck for a Ritual Monster or Ritual Spell, most likely the Ritual Monster.
Monster, yeah. Because
he already has a spell in his hand. It only has 1400 attack, which is going to bounce off of the Ice Hand's 1600 defense. I think setting the Ice Hand is a pretty weak strategy here.
With no back row on your opponent's
side. Yeah, if your
of
opponent
the field.
doesn't have anything, you just lose the effect if they attack into it, because common, the way play goes is opponent will summon, make all their plays, and then set their cards. So you want to hide as much information from the opponent before
which is
going into the attack.
Very good advice for players new to the game. So you should, like you said, you should commit cards to the field as late as possible.
Yeah.
If you don't have to, of course. But yeah, this would be one of those examples.
Yeah, and this would be one of the players naturally in this mindset, the competitive players, that they're not going to be caught by an Ice Hand like that. Just playing the correct way is playing around it in just as a benefit. Okay, so Banisher the Radiance coming down and taking out the Manju.
The Manju.
That's going to be 200 damage, and Banisher the Radiance will be able to stop quite a few of these Schaddoll plays, but he's not. Karl's not really drawn into a lot of his Schaddoll engine. He's very much gone in for this ritual style play.
Right, so here we have his hand again. By the way, the other Djinn should be releaser of rituals. So it's just, there we go. It's a presider of rituals and the releaser of rituals. Those are the 2 guys.
He will have access to both of them because he has a tour guide.
That is a pretty interesting synergy that we haven't seen before, have we?
No, not in the feature match. When working on Duelist Alliance, it came up in development. I was like, oh wow, I really, really like Saffira. I think this card is excellent. I really hope that we see this on competitive tables. With the Djinns as well, he's going to be able to make that monster untargetable and the opponent can't special summon.
It sounds like a very hard lock. And if you add the Royal Decree, there's like next to nothing your opponent can do, right?
Yeah, and then you've got the him in the graveyard. So even if your opponent then, say, plays Rogeki, which is a card that's just come back, you can just banish the him. So it's a very, very difficult monster to deal with.
It seems like it's definitely more a Saffira deck than it is a Schaddoll deck.
Well, we're seeing that side of it this time. So yeah, he is going to use Tour Guide to grab the Demolisher, which is the monster that prevents his ritual monster from being targeted if it's used for a ritual summon. Here we are, Hymn of Light. I'll bring up Hymn of Light for you guys, because some of you might be a bit unfamiliar with it.
Now, in case you cannot read the card text, we got it here and we can read it to you. This card is used to ritual summon Saffira, Queen of Dragons. Well, no surprise there. You must also tribute monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal 6 or more. Also pretty normal for a ritual spell card. And now, this is the trick, actually. If a ritual monster you control would be destroyed by a battle or card effect while this card is in your graveyard, you can banish this card instead. So it gives you a one-time opportunity to save your ritual monster from destruction.
Unfortunately, Karl's not going to be able to make the most of that effect because there is a Banisher of the Radiance on the field, which is going to result in him being banished.
Yes.
But he's going to get the effect off of Saffira in the end phase. We'll see which one he chooses to go with. But that Saffira is going to cause a huge number of problems for Anna. And she currently has no cards to deal with that.
Right. So, well, one good possibility, it seems to me, would be discarding one random card from the opponent's hand.
Yeah, he could start attacking her hand.
I mean, if he were aware that the Ice Hand is face down, he could first attack over the Ice Hand.
And let the Banisher of the Radiance take it out. But he's not going to have any set cards.
No, it's...
Anyway, but...
Would you go for that? I mean, if you're expecting a Fire Hand, which seems to be the... well, more ordinary play here.
Yeah.
You would lose the Saffira if you would attack over it, right?
Well, the Saffira can't be targeted because he's used the Djinn.
Ah, okay.
So he would destroy the Tour Guide and then get an Ice Hand, and then, you know, she'd be able to...
There's not really any risk for him in attacking the face-down monster?
No, he's got himself in a very good position here.
But he doesn't know that.
He probably has a good idea if he'd have been playtesting his deck about what's considered a very strong position for him.
So he uses a discard, draw 2 cards and then discard a card effect.
And he sends a spare him to the graveyard.
That is pretty strong. So now his Saffira is an even bigger problem than before.
Yeah, because it now has that protection effect that we were talking about.
Yep. It's a very nice synergy, I gotta say.
Yeah, it's definitely working for him. And as he starts filtering for his deck, he'll start hitting the Schaddoll side of things. Anna drawing a Phoenix Wing Windblast again, another card that can't target the Saffira.
So she just has to watch Saffira taking out one monster after another.
Yeah, and as long as Karl can keep sending cards from his deck or his hand to the graveyard, he's just drawn Foolish Burial. He's going to be able to keep triggering that Saffira and getting deeper and deeper into his deck, or causing more and more disruption to Anna.
Does he want to summon another monster here? I mean, there's a chance that it's like, from his point of view, he's like, oh, I don't want to run into Torrential Tribute, for example. Yeah,
Torrential Tribute will force him to use his Hymn of Light in order to get past that, and he'll lose his other monster as well. So he might decide to not commit anything, and he just goes for the attack.
So he's just playing it safe, basically.
Yeah, he's currently controlling the pace of the duel, so he's not going to make any unnecessary stuff, and this will let him play his Foolish Burial now that the Banisher of the Radiance is taken out.
Right, so it definitely seems pretty strong for Karl, this position, after the strong first game and this in the second game. It looks really good for him.
Yeah, okay, yeah, and he plays Foolish Burial on Schaddoll Dragon and destroys Phoenix Wing Windblast.
So now he knows there is no Torrential Tribute, and it is safe to commit another card to the field in it.
Yeah, because that was the unknown card. I mean, Torrential Tribute hasn't been used prior, and that card's been set the whole duel.
Yep.
So there's a good chance that Anna would have used that already when the Sphere first appeared, because Banisher of the Radiance would have took out the Divine Hymn, so it would have been her way of clearing the monster out before it became a problem. So I would be, if I'm Karl, using Sherlock Holmes' process of I actually don't know what it is, but using my detective skills would decide that it's safe to deploy the monster. Deduction. That's the word I think was used for.
Ooh, well,
Ghost Rick Alucard, and he takes out the Dimensional Prison.
It looks really like... My guess is that Karl is going to take it away here. I mean, we've seen a lot of games gotten turned around in ridiculous ways in Madrid, to be honest.
Yeah.
But here it seems like he's in such a commanding position that Anna is definitely going to have a very hard time fighting back into this.
Yeah. To her credit, it's not like she's particularly made any wrong choices. It's just Karl has just deployed this monstrosity that's hindering her play completely. And all of her deck is actually built in a specific way that it needs to be able to resolve these trap cards to do things. Otherwise, all its monsters are kind of subpar in comparison to what Karl can put out.
Right. So she finds the trap card, which is not much use at the moment because
bottomless trap hole.
All the trap holes do something when you summon a monster, and it's we're a little bit past that point.
Yeah, the monsters are already down, and yeah, another Dimensional Prison being taken out. Schaddoll Fusion being played. He has a light monster and a dark monster. There's a handshake. No, it's not. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself.
No, that was a little bit premature, yeah. We're not quite there.
Yeah, the special summon restriction ability of that card is not going to be so relevant here, but it's just a huge body. And it can't be destroyed by card effects, so even the bottomless trap hole doesn't deal with that either.
Right. One thing you guys pointed out in the chat, which is of course correct, Karl has also won one of the YCS trials.
Yes.
Which is one of the coolest public events we have at every YCS. So even if things are not going so well for you in the main event, which is the case for Anna in this situation right now, you can always enroll in the public events, and there's lots to win there as well.
There's also a chance for you to shift your deck if you've played and you feel like your deck didn't work out. You just sign up with something different, give that a go. So it's essentially just extra things to do if you exit the main event. Although I don't want to write Anna off just yet. I'm definitely very, very happy with her play, apart from maybe setting the ice hand on turn 1.
Yes. Well, that's also something we have seen in Madrid, that some players we had on the stream who were known players, they lost their matches, but they came back.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And we have seen some... the most interesting matches we had, for example, was Federico Sopini versus Joshua Schmidt. in the Swiss rounds, and they then met again in the top 4. So there is a chance for that to happen.
Well, there's another one across that come down for Anna.
Right. So she can deal with the face-down monster, which is good, but there are still 3 face-up monsters on her opponent's side of the field.
All she has to defend herself is another Ice Hand in her hand, a bottomless trap hole, and then one cross out. Oh, sorry, on my app it says she still has an Ice Hand in play, but on the table, from what I can see, she doesn't have it. So she's got an Ice Hand in hand. She doesn't really have a play here, as long as, well, even if Karl commits a spell or trap, she can't special summon.
Right. So she can just try and buy some more time, but it doesn't look...
I don't even think she gets time out of this. Looking at this, I'm pretty sure this duel is over.
Oh my.
Like, Karl can't even... I don't even believe Karl can misplay out of this, unless maybe he tributes his... No, even if he tributes his 3 monsters for something.
That would be an interesting challenge. Okay, so here's your perfect field. Try to misplay with this one.
He could switch all his guys to defense mode and say, "Go ahead."
Yeah.
I don't see how else he's gonna lose this. The cards have come down really well from him. He's just drawn Effect Veiler, which is another card that combos so well with Saffira, as you can trigger it to effect during the opponent's end phase, and just like, for example, Effect Veiler, get back Effect Veiler.
Yeah.
Is that 4,700 damage coming in directly?
It certainly looks that way. They're still taking the time to write it down, and now they are shaking hands.
Yeah, there's the handshake.
Yeah.
Not the 3 turns early like I thought.
Yeah.
Anna's just taking time to read to see if she could bottomless trap hole the window, and it didn't work out.
Well, a very commanding victory by Karl Play. Congratulations on that.
Yeah, taking a rather unique deck. Perhaps we'll see it do well over this weekend. I'm wondering against all the Vanity's Emptiness, how that's going to impact his tour guides from the Underworld and his ritual spell activations being stopped by Vanities. Right. He's obviously going to be very aware that this is a problem for his deck, so how he plays around that
he will have a plan for that. I mean, he definitely seems to come prepared here and like know exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, he knew exactly how he was going to play that game out. He didn't draw into the Schaddoll side. He saw all of the ritual side of his deck and was like, I can make this work, and his monster just shutting down Anna.
Right. So, like you said, it's a new format, a new band list, just went into effect a few weeks ago. It's still early in the format, even though not that much has changed for the main decks.
That's right.
According to some of the players I had conversations with, they said the main decks mostly stay the same, but there's a lot changing in the side deck.
Yeah, I've heard lots of different things. Like I've heard from players saying that they're starting to take wheel back the breakthrough skills, and that's creating room for Vanity's Fiend and Majesty's Fiend to get back into the game to harass the opponent, because the power of that normal summon is so strong, as we saw in the first round of Madrid, where we're seeing just Monarchs and the Schaddoll player going,
tearing it apart.
Oh, well, you don't have a special summon monster. I actually, it's not from the extra deck, and I can't play Fusion just to get out of this.
So suddenly my main strategy is like being shut down.
Yeah.
Although we got to say that the Monarch deck in Madrid didn't do so well after that first round.
No, it's sort of like just come out barreling, and I thought the deck had lost, and he ran away with that game. Nadir, I believe it was playing that
deck. Yeah, it was Nadir, yeah.
And then it fell to bits for him a little bit later in the tournament, but the theory there that the normal summon was very, very strong. We're going to probably see maybe Vanity's Fiend coming out, because it stops your opponent from special summoning.
Right.
And as long as your opponent can't special summon, all of the main decks, all of their low-level monsters, none of them outclass Vanity's. They have to use a spell or trap to get rid of it. Right. And Schaddoll minimizing their spell and trap lineup.
It's definitely one of the cards we're going to see this weekend. Other cards that have made waves in Madrid, for example, were Stygian Dirge.
Yes, Rick Cherry is going to wake up in a cold sweat remembering, oh, God, don't play any rank 3s.
Yes.
Shutting down the Statella Knights, and to the point where I'm not sure if it's because of that one card, but Statella Knights is something that we're not seeing a lot of.
I wouldn't say it's because of that one card. I think it plays into it, of course.
Yeah.
But it just seems like all of them, the bigger names that I spoke to, they don't even consider Statella Knights. They say the deck is still missing something.
Yeah, it got its third reinforcements of the army, adding to the consistency of getting to the Denub and the Altairs. So it is still a very, very good deck. Just I think that these players have sat down and gone, does this give consistently beat Burning Abyss and
Yes.
Schaddoll? If the answer is no, I'm going to play one of these two.
Yeah. Like, we had an interview with Patrick Reeder, who said that he has to play the best deck. Like, even though he doesn't feel that comfortable with it. So rather than going for something where he's like, I feel really comfortable with this deck, it fits my playstyle and everything, he's convinced that it is still the better strategy to go with the best deck in the format.
Yeah, well, some players feel handicapped if they're not walking in what they believe is the best deck. Although I feel like that can almost be to a detriment of the player.
Yes.
Because then eventually at the tournament, you are going to meet somebody who is prepared with that deck. Like, that's just the way Swiss works.
Yes.
So if you're not comfortable with the deck, you're eventually going to play against somebody who's very comfortable, and it's just not a winning strategy for you.
Right. In case you're not aware with Swiss works, and you're just like tuning in for the first time, you just bought a structure deck the other day, and this is your first experience with competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! So let's just break it down for you a little bit. We got all of those players signing up at the start of the day, more than 1,000 this weekend. They then get paired against each other, which is these pairings that we have, lots of them, and they sit down and play an opponent with an equal score, which in this case means both going into the first game. So it's completely random. But after the first round, everything changes. If you win your game, like Karl just did, you're going to go up against somebody who also won their round 1, and so on. So after 8 rounds, if you're undefeated, you're going to go up against the other undefeated player in the room, and that's going to be a very tough match.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the top-level matches, because at that point, you're almost locked into the top 32.
Yeah.
Every player that gets to that point are going to be good.
Yes. So the air is getting thinner and thinner, the like higher you're going on the standings. Basically.
Yeah, the room for mistakes just shrinks dramatically. You can even say after you've gone 4 wins in a row.
Yes.
Because the numbers, the way things keep breaking down is you get different brackets, and you get the 4-0 bracket, the 3-1 bracket, the 2-2 bracket, the 1-3 bracket, the drops.
Yes.
You know.
Interesting thing though, there are quite a few experienced players who say that it is an advantage if there are lots of players enrolling in the tournament, because there are only so many veterans that always reach the top 32, or like always reach the top 64. And if you are at a tournament like Madrid, and out of 450 players, 100 are really, really good at the game, it's going to be really hard to lock yourself up in the top 64. Whereas in London, when there are 1,000 something players, and 300 of them are just returning to the game, some of them are saying, hey, I want to have a good time at the MCM Expo, but I also want to go to play some Yu-Gi-Oh! At the same time.
Yeah.
So there's a higher chance that you get paired against less experienced players, which means it will be easier for you to move to the top of the standings.
Yep. For some players, it really depends on the matchups. And as you've rightly pointed out, in a larger event, you're going to find more players that are at different levels, skill levels. Which is why Madrid, despite it being so small, it was an incredibly competitive event.
Yes.
And if you're looking into doing research for your own event, the information that came out of Madrid would have been incredibly valuable to you, because the players that showed up are the players that come every time to the YCS to try and take home the prize.
Yeah.
So very, very experienced players.
That also means if you are going up with a rogue deck, you should go to the large events.
Yeah. You're more likely to actually run into rogue decks in larger events. What we tend to see happen when you get when we say rogue deck, it means a deck that no one else expected. You've searched through the metagame and you've created a deck specifically against it.
Like Saffira.
No, like Saffira, yeah. If you come to a larger event, I feel like actually that might be a weakness playing the rogue deck, because you're going to play against other players that are doing that. And if your deck's tech to beat the main format decks, you might lose to somebody else's rogue deck. And you find what happens with the bracket is
that is a good point.
All of the rogue decks end up down in one bracket, and all of the top level decks end up in the upper bracket, so they don't even play against the rogues. But in a smaller tournament, you've got the access of more players playing the main deck, and yeah, you can then use your tech to run away with it.
All right. So we got the results of the poll. Something we're going to try this weekend. We're going to use more of the features that we have on Twitch. So we're closing our poll now. And
for people trying to sneak their vote and going, oh, I called it all along after they've just watched the match. Oh, yeah, I knew Karl was going to win.
We are trying to get up the results. I'm not sure how it works. We're gonna figure this out. We're gonna figure out all the other things. As you can see, it's only the 3rd time we're doing this.
Yeah, we had Amsterdam, Rimini, Madrid. This is the fourth time,
Fourth
that
time.
we're
Right.
streaming.
And the second YCS where we're doing this. So while we're still somewhat new to this.
Yeah, we're getting used to all the kinks and
Yes.
stuff.
Right. But we have to say, one of the reasons people have been asking me forever, why don't we do video? And the reason is we want to do it right.
Yeah, I mean, if we'd have just come and put a camera up and said, "Hey guys, go watch some games," you know, it just wouldn't have looked good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a disservice to you.
Right. And I think with our software support we got here, so we can show you all the cards, it should be easier for you. We just got some message on Skype that is telling us something about what's going on. We have the decks to expect this weekend on the written coverage, which you can also check out on the Konami website. We will link to it in the Twitch chat. That is obviously easier than me trying to give you the whole link.
Yeah, just okay right now. www. Give him a minute to type that. Yu-Gi-Oh card.
Yeah, it's really easy for us. We just type coverage, and then it show up. Be sure to also check out the written coverage.
Yeah.
So that is one of the advantages. Speaking of technical issues or technical specialties, if you're using an apostrophe, we don't know why that is the case. It's some hiccup with Twitch. If you're using an apostrophe, your message will get deleted.
It's not us being overzealous with the filtering bot, it's the apostrophe.
We're trying to work on that. We're going to figure it out eventually, or Twitch is going to figure it out. Just for the time being, you have to use like proper spelling. Like instead of he will, he'll, you just say he will. And then
or you could just write it and it'll look wrong. I mean, you just get all the squiggly lines.
Yeah, that should also work.
Your spell checker may break your message, just as a heads up.
Another thing. We are actually reading the Twitch chat. So if you're suggesting people that we should feature, some of you said, hey, there's an Australian duelist in competition this weekend. We're definitely interested in that. If you know that your best mate is bringing something completely unique to the table, just let us know. We might not see the message right away. If you repeat it like once or twice or something, we're going to see it. And we're reading the chat. We're going to listen to your feedback. That's one of the reasons why this weekend you're not just seeing the two of us dating prior to the tournament like in Madrid. You're also going to see interviews with players. You're also going to see what else is going on at the MCM Expo and the carnival activities that we have.
Yeah, I mean, that was your feedback. You wanted to see a little bit more, and we're doing our best to bring that in. It may be a little bit bumpy, but we'll get it right eventually. Just bear with us. We'll do our best on that.
Right. Also, if there's a certain deck type you would like to see, it's another thing. You can just let us know, and we try to make it happen.
Yeah, but please don't recommend a Snape Snatch deck. Like, we get that joke all the time. It's like, it's like how every third email I get in my inbox is #FreeStrauss. And it's like, no, it's not funny anymore.
Exodia, on the other hand, is fine. We would really like to feature an Exodia deck. Most of the time, the problem is that there's no player with an Exodia deck.
Yeah, or you'll see them right before the event. They've sleeved up their Exodia deck, and they're like, yeah, I'm going to not play this now. Like, they build it, they're testing with it. You walk around the room, you're like, oh, yeah, some Exodia decks, and then they just don't play it.
Yeah, well, you got to have, you got to feel like that is the time to bring it out.
Jarrell, World Championships, just saying.
Exactly, so it can work out.
Top 8, yeah, he did all right. A room exploding, shouting Exodia in Japanese, and it was just like, wow, that was...
What is it in Japanese?
I would not try and do disservice to the language.
But Exodia is the same.
Yeah, it's Exodia, but you hear
But instead of the forbidden one, they say something else?
I believe so.
Okay.
So I wouldn't want to offend anybody by horribly mispronouncing it, but you just hear Exodia, and everyone's just like clapping and cheering. And you're like, I know what that is. I don't know what else is being said, but...
Right. Who else do we have in competition this weekend? We looked over the round 1 pairings. It was a little bit hard to make sense of it because there are so many names in it. But we got Joshua Schmidt, defending champion, winner of YCS Madrid. He's here this weekend. Patrick Reeder, who we also mentioned earlier, winner of last year's YCS London.
Yep.
Also here. Wayne Pinkney. I'm really looking forward to seeing him again, to be honest.
I'd like to see him. He's just kind of like Gandalf. He just sort of shows up after a while, and you're like, oh, wow, it's you. How are you doing?
I was fighting the demons.
It's like I was somewhere.
Yeah. And Xing Piao, the champion of YCS Brighton.
Yeah, Ping Zhao. He's actually was a local to my hometown in Bristol. He used to go quite frequently. I don't think we went very often the same time, but I know he's from my hometown, so it's like, yes, representing.
Okay. So, right. we are ready. Almost. We are almost ready to start with all the stuff that we prepared for you yesterday and this morning. So we have been hard at work, making sure that this event will go, or the coverage will be as exciting as possible this weekend.
Yeah.
So we just have a few more seconds. Other players in competition this weekend, Luigi Alici, who we also had on the stream in Madrid, if I remember correctly, who also made the top 64. Then Luca Moroni, you can tell there's a lot of Italians in competition.
Yeah.
They came out in droves.
Which is surprising, because it's actually one of the furthest YCSs away from most of Italy, because it's not on the mainland.
Yes.
I'm surprised to see that many, but again, if you're going to go to one event in the year, YCS London is a really big one.
I mean, the other one is YCS Milan, which is really easy for them to get to.
Yeah, for them, yeah.
So they're like, well, if I only have to spend money one time this year to travel somewhere, it might as well be London.
Yeah.
Because we also have an exclusive playmat, which is something we're going to highlight later on. Speaking of highlighting things, we are having an YCS London preview. This is what we were expecting from this event, not today, but yesterday. So we didn't know how many players would show up. This is going to be next in just a second. So we'll be right back with round 2. We hope you enjoy the stream and enjoy the preview of YCS London.
I'm feeling the flow! Dual Disc, go! Dual Gazer, let's roll. Dual Interface set!
Augmented reality vision link established.
Let's duel!